Welcome! Bienvenidos! Suciotalk. Episode 21. 21 savage episodes of Suciotalk. Not stopping. Alright? So, hopefully all of you are doing well this week. It's been a long 7 days, a lot of hard work. My afro is coming in exquisitely, for those of you who want to know. So, the DMX funeral was this past... Before I talk about that, I'm getting into the intro without even letting you guys know what the hell you're getting in for. What the hell you're here for. Joe Sasto. Chef Joe Sasto. Was a competitor on Top Chef. Worked under Chef Michael Tusk for many years. He's in love with pasta. You can see him doing pasta cooking videos nowadays on his own website, everything like that. Just sort of, self-sustained chef, teaching people the wonderful techniques behind pasta making. So we've been trying to get the podcast up and running for a while. And finally, after pandemics and vaccinations and all that, we were able to make it happen. So he invited me into his place, and we had a great time talking about his career and sort of what he's into now, and it's kind of an amazing time in being a chef, because you can, broadcast from your own home, and it's not looked down upon, Kudos and shout out to those chefs who were doing this before it was popular and dealt with the negativity of the haters, including myself. I was thinking the other day about this cryptocurrency business, and a lot of people are on the fence about it. They're like, I don't know. And at the end of the day, I think it's the way of the future. I think if you try to deny these things, which are inevitably going to change, you're not going to benefit fully from them. For example, when YouTube came out, right? I was like, I don't want to be a fucking idiot making videos of myself and putting them on YouTube. I wish I had. You know what I'm saying? These fools out here making multi-million dollars making funny videos. Like, come on. But as I said before, everything in your own time, right? So I'm not beating myself up like, I can't believe it. I missed that wave. Also, when podcast came out, I was like, what the fuck is a podcast? I don't want to listen to that. And here I am, 14 years after I said that, wishing I had started a podcast sooner. But it's okay, because the experiences in your life shape you and make you do certain things. And, I think I'm happy about where I'm at in my life and what it's taken me to get here. No way, shape, or form am I regretful. But there is definitely something to be said about shutting new things out because you don't believe in them or you're scared of them. To be honest, I think that's what people don't want to lose money on this cryptocurrency business. And as we saw with the GameStop stocks and all that, financial moves are changing, and you can make a living these days without needing the things that you needed 20 years ago, master's degree and all that. There's more avenues to make money and more avenues for people to do what they truly love, and if you love it and it helps others, then why not do it, So back to the DMX funeral. They had him in a red casket on a monster truck that they were driving through New York, visiting all his old hoods and his other rappers' hoods, and just like all the rappers were there. As Swizz Beatz made beautiful comments. I didn't get to watch it all, but I saw some highlights of it. So say what you say about that man, but at the end of the day, the respect is there, and you can tell by the funeral that his friends and family put together and how many people attended that were fans, not just family. So something to be said there. The new Mortal Kombat movie came out, and I think people are holding it to too high a standard. Like, it's not going to be an amazing movie, guys. Right? It's an action movie based on a video game. Okay, so I thought they did a great job, but I've been seeing a lot of hate on the internet. Not like, crazy negative hate, but just people saying like, "Oh, I didn't like the movie." But at the end of the day, it had action, it was funny, there was bad acting in it, which is everything you need for a great martial arts movie. Like, let's be honest, right? And at the end of the day, the movie's for kids. Like, it's I guess not. There was people like getting cut up with chainsaws. I take that back. Mortal Kombat, not for kids. Wu-Tang, always for the children. All right. Joe Rogan had if you guys don't know this, Joe Rogan has the best podcast. I'm sure you probably know this, because there's no way you're listening to my podcast if you haven't listened to Joe Rogan's podcast. So he had a podcast on, and he had this guest, was this doctor. Her name was Dr. Shanna Swan. Shanna Swan. She's an environmental epidemiologist whose work examines the impact of chemical exposure on reproductive health and child development. And she has a book called Countdown. It's available now. Dr. Shanna Swan. SHANNASWAN. Dr. DR. Period. So Dr. Shanna, she was talking about the fact that any food that has been in contact with certain plastics will leach out into those foods and eventually end up in our bodies, and it's lowering male sperm counts. It's making our taints smaller. I know that you guys are going to think, why is he talking about small taints? Well, apparently it's a problem. All right, guys, I'm not a doctor, but there's a doctor out here explaining these things. So listen to the podcast. It's one of his shorter ones. It's only an hour and a half. Usually they're like 3 hours long. But she gets right down to the point, explains all the issues that are going on with all the plastic and how we can get rid of this. And then I was listening to the Bill Burr podcast, those are my two main podcasts. And he was talking about this water called Liquid Death. Right? And I've been looking at this water at the store like, why would I buy canned water? Right? But at the end of the day, I think it's going to, take away all the usage of plastic, and the entire can is 100% reusable. So I think Liquid Death, I think I'm going to get into buying that water. And you feel good, it empowers the water. It's in a can. It's in a tall boy pounder. You know what I'm saying? Feel badass drinking it, instead of these little flimsy plastic bottles that are all over the place. And you see them on the beach, you see them on the street. It's time to get away from that. Like, we are fucking this place up, And anyway, let me not go too far down that rabbit hole. But check out Dr. Shanna Swan podcast. It was a really good one, and I really enjoyed it. So Joe Sasto invited me, and I want to also thank his girlfriend, Bella Bennet. She is the creative director almost for almost. She is the writer and creative director for Joe Sasto. All right, basically she's behind the camera. She's helping him out. As they go out to eat, they film, while they eat, which is something that's kind of new for me because, most times it's a picture of the place, either a picture of the plate, a picture of a half-eaten plate, a picture of someone sitting down. But to take a video while you're at a restaurant and review it sort of as you're eating it, I'd never seen that before. So hopefully that takes off because that's pretty interesting. So Bella Bennet, thank you for letting me into your home and to interview your man, Chef Joe Sasto. I can't stop saying that last name. I love the last name. While I'm doing this, I'm getting somebody's not tweeting out, mentioning me in the story. Here we go. We got Jacob Aaron Wilson. That's on Instagram. Jacob Aaron Wilson. Talking about that Nick Tamburo episode 20, a New York chef in wine country. Just came out last week on the Suciotalk podcast. He said, that feeling in your stomach never goes away. And he's talking about the butterflies there. That important feeling of that a human should have when they're, doing something challenging. And it's like, am I going to fail this? Am I going to fall on my face? What would I do if I fell on my face? The answer is always get up. All right? And actually, let me tell you a story about canned water. We're going to go back to canned water for a second here. I'm taking a flight from Puerto Rico to Texas. Right? At the time, I had a girlfriend that lived there, so I took a plane from Puerto Rico to Texas. I never gotten drunk at the airport before, so I figured this is the perfect time to do that because I'm here like 4 hours early. My dad could always drop me off or whatever. So I was in layover somewhere, I think in New York, because you got to fly from. It's weird. You have to fly from Puerto Rico to New York. This was JetBlue, then New York to I believe Austin Airport. So I get in there and I get to the bar. I'm like, maybe I should order some food. And I'm like, it's a little bit too pricey. So I end up having 4 margaritas, okay, which is, I probably could have had 2 margaritas and a meal and been good, but I didn't do that, right? So I get hammered. Not only that, I'm walking, I'm feeling good. I'm like that confident hammered, right? I'm walking to the gate. I'm like, whoa, I'm on time. I'm actually a little bit early. So I sit down at the bar right next to the gate and have a Coors Light. So at this point, I'm 4 margaritas and a Coors Light. I get in the plane, I sit down, immediately pass out. This is like a 7-hour, 6-hour flight, right? So we're flying into Austin. As the plane starts to descend, I snap out of it, wake up, and I'm so nauseous, right? I have to puke immediately, okay? And I'm sorry if you're eating your breakfast while you're listening to this. So I'm sitting there and I grab that little bag. It's the first time in my life that I'm grabbing the little paper bag that you have there. It's plastic lined in case you're going to throw up. And I go at it, right? And I fill the entire bag up. So I'm holding it onto it, right? And then the seat next to me is empty. I'm on the window. And the seat in the aisle there's a man there, and I'm like, I can't even talk. I'm like, I need your bag. He's like, what? I'm like, I need your bag. Then he looks over and he sees that I have this full plastic bag, and he's like, paper bag, and he's like, here you go. So he gives me his paper bag, and I also fill that one up, right? So we land in Austin, and I have 2 of these bags full of my body juice. And I land with these things kind of like holding them up so they don't spill, like, trying to go with the plane so nothing seeps out of the bag and like explodes all over the plane, So we finally land, and everybody starts getting up, and before everybody starts getting up, the stewardess or the flight attendant, walks down the aisle, and she goes, "Oh, those are